We have multiple Lakers updates to go over today ahead of a huge game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Some reports have dropped revealing some big information surrounding some key Lakers players. We're going to break that down, as well as some comments surrounding Darvin Ham that has Lakers fans fired up ahead of the big matchup against their former coach. So stay tuned for all that in this episode. There's a lot to go over today, and a lot of this stuff has Lakers fans fired up. But before we get into it, we have a proud announcement to make as we are kicking off a March Madness bracket for the channel. We have partnered with the Hot Takes app and other digest channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. Just download the Hot Takes app, click the March Madness banner at the top, and under groups select the Digest Media Pool. This is really exciting as there's over $25,000 in prizes to be won, and since there's a much smaller pool of people participating, there's a real chance to win big. So check out the link below or scan the QR code on the screen to download the app, and make sure to use promo code DIGEST in all caps to get exclusive perks when signing in. Again, completely free to sign up, and you have a serious chance to win big. If you have any trouble, reach out to us in the email down below in the description, and we're excited to see you in this March Madness pool. So go down below, click the link, download the app, and use code DIGEST in all caps. Hunter, myself, everybody's going to be doing it. It's going to be a fun community event, so make sure to do that and do it soon. Thank you guys for all the support there. But Hunter, there's a lot to go over today. Now, the Lakers play a very important game tomorrow against the Bucks. They're still trying to hold on to that 3 seed at the moment behind the Nuggets a little bit. You play the Bucks tomorrow. You play the Nuggets on Friday. We have a bunch of updates and also some comments surrounding former coach that we know all Lakers fans love dearly in Darvin Ham. But let's start with the injury report here. Now, I covered it in the video earlier today surrounding LeBron James. We'll get your thoughts on it in a little bit here, how Shams dropped saying that LeBron is progressing very well with his groin sprain, and per medical recommendation, he has returned to Los Angeles and he continues to progress well from that groin strain, which is very, very big news. Won't put a timetable or anything like that. But we also have some updates surrounding the game against the Bucks. Now, LeBron is, of course, going to be out, but Dorian Finney-Smith is back. Luka Doncic is questionable, but Jackson Hayes has been ruled out again, and I covered it a little bit in the video earlier, but this comes as a bit of a surprise as we didn't hear anything about the Hayes injury once it happened. We just realized, okay, he's going to be out, and now he's missed multiple games here.
Yeah, well, first off, great news that Dorian Finney-Smith's going to be back. He's going to come back and have his hands full quite a bit because you're going up against arguably the best forward in the entire NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo. This Bucks team is rolling right now. They're winning a whole lot of games. They're trying to fight for positioning in the East, just like the Lakers are doing in the West. And of course, they seem like they got a bit of a chip on their shoulder. They lost in 2 really close games to the Lakers twice last year. They're going to have the Lakers here this week and next week. So a very familiar foe that the Lakers are going to have to go up against. And after a pretty bad loss against the Brooklyn Nets, a team that you would think the Lakers should handle, but they didn't. They could not overcome the injuries, the turnovers. Honestly, the officiating was pretty horrible in that game as well. Maybe some whistles will go a little bit more in the Lakers' way, or at least be a little more fair in this one. And, this is going to be an exciting game. These are 2 teams that don't really play each other too much. It's a shame that LeBron's not going to be in it. Just to see these 2 fully healthy rosters, superstars really in this game all around with Dame, Giannis, Luka, LeBron. I mean, there's some major headline names. And of course, you bring up Lakers fans' favorite, Darvin Ham. I almost said Darvin as well, but Darvin Ham, who is someone who, I think we can appreciate a little bit because if it wasn't for Darvin Ham, JJ Redick wouldn't be here. The Lakers will not have their future head coach to perhaps lead the Lakers to what they hope are championships on championships. Someone who they apparently compared to the next Pat Riley of this team. So sometimes some bad things have to happen for some good things to happen. And Darvin Ham's shortcomings is the success of JJ Redick. So it should definitely be an exciting game that's got a little bit more of a chip on its shoulder than a typical Thursday night game would.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple of things. We'll get into Darvin Ham. You mentioned the return of Dorian, very important because, again, you mentioned Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be playing. Then against the Nuggets, we'll have to see what happens there because last time they played the Nuggets, you, of course, had Hachimura, who was the primary defender on Jokic. That's no longer going to be the case. Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be factoring in the lineup. Also, LeBron, like you mentioned, is out. Hachimura out. Maxi Kleber, of course, out. So they're going to be pretty shorthanded, especially with Luka as questionable and Jackson Hayes out as well, their center. So Luka's been struggling a little bit on having a pick-and-roll partner. And then as it pertains to the games being intense and the Lakers being shorthanded, Bobby Portis, who's on the Bucks, who won't be available because he got suspended for PEDs, said the Bucks have a little extra motivation tomorrow in their night's game to win against Darvin Ham. And here's the exact quote. Portis is now serving a suspension, but with the Lakers and Bucks scheduled to play on Thursday, he said Milwaukee players will be fired up to win for Ham. It's going to be a fun game to play. We played them 2 times last year. Obviously, we're in the East Coast and they're West Coast teams, so you play those teams only 1 time at home each. So it's always a fun game to play. Our games last year went down to the wire. We actually lost both by like under 3 or 4 or 5 points. So it was a great game to play in. So this is interesting because not only now are the Lakers shorthanded heading into the game tomorrow, there's clearly some motivation there for a Bucks team that has been playing really well as of late since acquiring Kyle Kuzma. Of course, they have Dame, Giannis. It's going to be interesting to see not only how the Lakers perform, but of course, again, the schedule is brutal coming up. Jordan Goodwin's going to be available. Maybe he's going to play a bigger role now for a little bit in the foreseeable future. Gabe Vincent, you assume, might start and then play on Damian Lillard, depending on who they prefer between him and Goodwin. Probably Gabe Vincent to start, depending on what happens. You also have Vando as well. Take Damian Lillard. It's going to be an interesting game. And of course, Darvin Ham, no longer a head coach and assistant coach for Doc Rivers over there in Milwaukee. There's some extra motivation and maybe a chip on the shoulder for the Bucks, which the Bucks need to win to stay in the playoffs, similar to the Lakers. So there's a lot riding on these games now as we head towards the final half, and not even final half, final little bit of the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as the season shrinks, the games become a little bit more important in the standings as teams are jockeying for position. The Bucks, Lakers kind of find themselves in a similar situation, trying to fight for seeding in their respective conferences. And one thing that's guaranteed, Darvin Ham will have his hands in his pockets this one, guys. And the second that happens, Laker fans are going to be all over X and social media tweeting out when they see that going on. But in terms of trying to win this game, right? Let's talk about the X's and O's. That's kind of what I love the most about basketball here, is that Giannis is probably going to get his. I mean, if we're going to be honest, Giannis is probably going to have like 35 points at least. And you hope that maybe the Lakers can, which they did a pretty solid job with, is keeping up with the glass and keeping up with the rebounds, but specifically the offensive rebounds. You cannot give Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, and this Milwaukee Bucks team a lot of second chance opportunities because they will make you pay, just like the Brooklyn Nets did on Monday night, except the Bucks are a much better team than the Brooklyn Nets. They got much better shooters than the Brooklyn Nets do. So that's going to be key number 1. Can you clean up the glass? A lot of that, obviously, is some personnel issues. No LeBron, who's been rebounding the ball really well. Jackson Hayes, of course, really your only legit 7-footer that deserves minutes. And yes, that includes Alex Len. He does not. I wonder if he's going to start. This actually might be a game where Alex Len might not be a horrible starter, just to kind of, pair up with Brook Lopez a little bit. I'm not expecting him to do much. Maybe this is more of a Trey Jemison game, if anything. And he's got to, kind of be that goon, that boogeyman for the Los Angeles Lakers, and maybe, get some technical fouls or something like that. But it's going to take a team effort here. And for one, we need to see the stars be stars for the Lakers, right? I mean, if you were down a couple players, your stars need to play like stars. Luka and Austin did not fit that billing. Austin has not looked particularly great since coming back from the calf injury. Luka kind of just had a bad game. Before that game against the Nets, he's actually been playing really well. So if Luka can do what he does, be the most dominant player on the floor, getting guys open looks, making his own shots, not turning the ball over, and Austin Reaves can kind of get back and get his footing back right, I think that, can the Gabe Vincents, the Dalton Knechts, Jordan Goodwins, Dorian Finney-Smiths, can they just hit their shots? 1 or 2 of those guys has a really good game, and then ultimately maybe that's what it takes. And playing some good defense as well to really muddy up the game against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, and it's going to be you mentioned, I mean, we saw Darvin Ham with his hands in his pockets on the 4-point play for the win against Halliburton, so hopefully we'll see some similar fate there. And again, LeBron is going to be out for a little bit longer, and the stretch of games, Milwaukee, Denver, Phoenix, San Antonio, Denver, Milwaukee. They don't have a quote-unquote easy game. There's no easy games in the NBA, but if you're going based on record, till really the Bulls, you could argue the Suns as well, but the Suns have KD. They can win, and Booker, so they can win on any given night. So it's going to be an interesting one. No Jackson Hayes, and of course, no LeBron, and it's going to be interesting surrounding Luka Doncic. We'll have updates for you all, and again, make sure to check the Hot Takes app down in the description or the pinned comment. We're going to be playing along there, so make sure to sign up for that and use code DIGEST in all caps. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.